right. Malachi.
What's up, man?
What's up, baby? Thank you for coming here, man.
Not a problem, not a problem. You already know. All love.
All love for sure, man. We just dropped our video.
Yes, sir.
Our music video. That shit was a little movie.
Stop calling by Malachi on YouTube
Tell 'em.
and all platforms right now.
Tell them. A lot of work went into that.
Oh, and the visuals behind it, bro. I'm so glad I trusted you with that vision. It was a crazy concept.
It was an honor. It was a crazy concept. It's probably the craziest concept I had to put together and figure out.
You know what? I'll take pride in that. And what's crazy is mad people kept hitting me up, like telling me what they thought they knew about the video. Like, yo, I got the concept.
They were trying to like break it down.
They were really trying to break it down, and I'm just staring at them like, no, almost, not really it though. But to be honest, like, it's mad layered, so I could get why.
That's really cool though. That's such a good feeling when you get people hitting you up, and that's new to you, right? Because it's like your first music video.
1000%.
That's so cool.
First time like dropping music to the public. For those that don't know, like for the most part, I spent the last 8 to 9 years making music alone in my bedroom, not sharing it with anybody, afraid to. I might show like a friend here and there, but for the most part, I was very shy about sharing my art and creating. But then little by little, I started like throwing a few more songs out to different people, different places. And I started getting that like reinforcing feedback that kind of helped me believe in myself as an artist. And I think as an artist and a creative, that's one thing that goes a very long way, that people don't seem to understand the impact on, one, what they have, the impact that they have on their friends, and two, as an artist, the impact that you have on other people. Random ass situation. I went to a bar the other night, and I won't name the person, but they came up to me and they're like, "Yo, bro, you this one song you made, it was called Empathy. It like it's an allegory about suicide. For the most part, she's like, you don't know how much that song helped me." And I got another one called Perspective. Same concept, different perspective of that story. And she's like, for the most part, it helped me through a very tough time in my life. And it allowed me to keep going. And I'm drunk as hell at this bar, like, no way.
Yeah.
You're
just taking it in
right now. Like, I just made that song because it was something I was thinking of feeling at the time. But she's like, no, like, you don't understand. Like, that hit me, and I kept it on repeat, and it got me through the days. And I'm just like, and then she shared with me a little bit deeper what actually the trauma that she went through. And it just showed me, like, yo, you don't understand the power of the pen, the power of your art, the power of that thing that you just created because you felt it. How many other people share those same sentiments or feelings and maybe going through struggles that you don't know? And that's where I feel like my music in particular is more aimed towards that lane. It's like a trappy R&B kind of like vibe for the most part. And yeah, man, that shit's crazy.
Yeah, your project has a good balance of that, more like providing like an emotional connection to these like narratives and how open you're being with your music. But then you have like some of the bangers where it's just a vibe. And it's good to have that balance.
Word. The name of that album is called Empathy, and I went into it with in mind trying to make a conceptual album. One of my favorite hip-hop rap albums of all time is The Waters by Mick Jenkins. And I always found it intriguing how he was able to turn like that idea of water into so many different things and so many different perspectives. And I'm just like, yo, this is a dope-ass conceptual album. Came out in 2016. I still bump it to this day. So when I went into making this project, I'm just like, how can I attack this in a way where it's multi-layered? How can I create these paradoxes? How can I create these stories? Different ways to perceive it, and also keeping in mind different perspectives of how a story can be told. There are many perspectives to the same story. Like, as I said at the listening party, in the world, like, there's no right or wrong when we really break it down.
Unless you're a serial rapist or a murderer, like
Well,
there's wrong.
Okay. There's definitely.
That's different.
Let's make that clear. There's definitely a fine line in with things that are just
let me not sidetrack what you're saying. There is definitely direct wrongs, but in terms of what you're saying, we're talking about more emotional based
like
experiences, relationships.
Yeah, obviously not. We're not with that abuse and none of the other shit. Get out of here with that.
Get out of here, please.
But yeah, tying back into that, Yeah, for the most part, like there's no real right or wrong outside of those things we just drew that line with when it comes to it, because it's only like perspectives and different reasons why those people or you may have chose to do certain things, and everybody's right within their own right because they're living in their own experience. And I feel like empathy is my journey as an empath, trying to understand that life isn't black and white. Life isn't, oh, I did this, so you should do that. Oh, I do this for you, so you should do that for me. It's finding that balance in the complexity and the maturity and understanding that it's okay. Like, you can pour out to people and leave yourself empty. That doesn't mean you should stop doing that. Just make different decisions. And if each song kind of progresses in my level and understanding deeper and deeper, to the point where at one point I'm just berating myself for being such a shitty and toxic person, to the next point really taking a look back at the things that I've done and be like, you know what, you might have been a jerk too. You might have deserved some of that. So it's very, very, it's a crazy approach I took.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
It's good. I think and the listening party that we had too, like, I think it's cool that I said it there, that you opened up so much, because then you open up the floor to more like relatability to the listeners that are tuning in. And the human experience is fucking complicated. We've got so many, we're not just out there in nature, like lion and like prey, and we're just hunting and just surviving. No, there's like so much complexities in our head and so many experiences that we go through, and some that we have to go through to grow. Yes. So, the album bringing all those thoughts and those conversations up is, I think, really dope. It's your first?
Yes.
It's your first album coming out, right?
Yes. EP. It's my first ever, and I just started releasing songs too. So, like, man, that's
it's already out, right? I'm sorry. Is it?
Yes, it's out as of now. I ain't really talk about it too much because I want to take it one by one. Because it's so conceptual, I want to give each song like its own specific due diligence and way to get that attention, because every song has a story behind it. So I thought that was very important in marketing this album. However, like, going forward, you're definitely gonna see some more about that. Even tying back to the video and touching on those allegorical properties, for the most part, Stop Calling the video, it goes into different ideas of karmic and toxic cycles, where on one hand, overview, you see a couple and a cursed phone, and the breakdown of that is we find the cursed phone, it gets dropped off by this random person, we look up, and then he disappears. Yeah,
just passing on the shit.
What the hell? But he left his phone, I'm trying to give it back to him. But my phone happened to be broken in the video, so I'm just like, you know what? Hey, at least I got a new phone, right? So little do we know that phone is cursed, and then it all goes south from there. The curse ends up being, I get cursed to watch the love of my life die before my eyes, and then right after she dies, the day restarts at the same time. And her curse is that she will have that everlasting reincarnation and won't remember a thing. It's kind of not for those who watch anime, 7 deadly sins. But I also try to take some realism from that to be like, you know what? How can I incorporate that into what we can understand in today's modern world? And I'm just like, that cell phone. How much power do cell phones have on whether it be relationships, our lives in general, and how much of trust do we actually give each other when it comes to those like meaningless things like phones? Like, in reality, it doesn't matter what's on that thing, but it holds so much weight in reality.
Yeah, it's like psychological weight.
Yeah,
somebody takes their phone out, like your SOs next to you take their phone out, and like for some reason automatically your eyes, they just dart to the screen.
Yeah,
and it's now even like involuntary, because it's just like we're used to tapping on the phone and like turning it on, and we've gotten so tuned in with like technology in that way. Yeah, and it makes me think about like my parents and like how different it must have been. Just being together in a moment is entirely different from like today, where it's like,
how much? Let's bring it back a little bit. How much easier was it even to find relationships before? Wait, never mind. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't know.
The internet definitely opened up our horizons to more out there on the market, especially if you're single.
Slide into DMs. That became a thing. That is still a thing.
Word. And
people test, and the funny thing is like you can test your shot out, you can take your shot out, and if it doesn't work, you didn't even, exactly. It wasn't a physical rejection.
So it's like when you really break it down, like, damn, when you bring your parents out, is that really a good thing? Because then it puts kind of like a timetable on how open we have our options when it comes to people being around us or in our lives. For example, I'm not going to put up with this girl when I know I got 20 more in my DM willing to, like be there for me, shit like that. It just changes the perspective of a relationship modern times. As opposed to back in the day when our parents were together, shit, they're together. Unless they go out and meet somebody and that's on some real other kind of shit. Like, for the most part, you're more likely, you don't have as many obstacles or barriers in your way to maintaining your relationship the way we do now, where, man, if you're a person that's easily tempted, good luck to you. Because right now, this ain't the time and age for you. Because temptation is everywhere. It's wild.
It's everywhere, and the word psychology just always comes into play with this world that we're living in now. Because that's what all these platforms are manipulating. They're manipulating our minds, how our minds work, the dopamine effect of like likes and just like the numbers, the notifications. Oof. That's why it's so entirely different thinking back to it's tough because it makes sense as like a business. You need to like, all right, how do we keep these people on the platform? How do we keep them hooked? But then it's like, what are you really doing in the long term to not even like people our age, but like even younger kids coming into this shit?
And it's so crazy how it's, like you said, almost built into the algorithms at this point, because there's a trick that I use. Like when I was really focused on TikTok and it started gaining traction and shit, like I would purposely post a video and then close the app. Why? Because I know that TikTok as a platform wants me to use that platform, right? So they're gonna then in turn push my content onto For You pages to give me notifications to come back to the app. And as long as that content continued to give them those numbers, they want me on there to keep creating.
Yeah.
So they're gonna
keep fuck is Malachi?
Exactly.
Send them 10 more notifications, exactly. 10 comments.
And I know it sounds like a little borderline conspiracy, but I'm telling you, the way these algorithms are built, and it's insane, bro.
Yeah.
They want us to use it, and they have ways to psychologically get us to use them, and they do it well.
Yeah, I turn my shit off. I'm glad that at least like you have control over that aspect, because Instagram notifies you when a friend likes your photo, or if they post, or they haven't posted something in a while on their story. Like, I don't give a shit. Why are you telling me, Instagram? Same for TikTok. Like, oh, they posted a video recently. Oh, someone's going live. Like, I don't care. So I kind of try to turn those off so they're not taking my attention away too much.
Joe just posted a video. I don't give a hell about Joe.
I barely even know Joe. The worst part is when it's like the notification pops up and your finger just so happens to touch the top of like because you're doing something, and then you're tuning in.
The next thing you know, you're the only person.
I hate that shit.
Staring at them, and they go, "Oh, what's up?" And you're on your way out.
I just go out, man. It's embarrassing.
Don't
but
save that live. I'm sorry for whoever I jumped into their live. It's all love. I still love you. It's just I don't really watch.
Do you use that? Do you use that? Oh, you don't use it too much, huh? You don't tune in like that.
The only thing I go live on is TikTok. That's pretty much it. Because there was one point where they were pushing, if you went live, they would push your stuff in front of everybody. So at that time, I'm just like, yeah, watch me make beats. Let's have a listening party. Grab a little drink. We'll talk, chat, this and the third network. But outside of that, it's crazy. Social media is like a gift and a curse, bro. Depends on how you use it, really.
Yeah, I use it. I try to use it more now as a tool. It took a while though for me to get to this point to think of it as that way. Where before I was way too like I remember talking to Andy on the Pocket too about this. Like I would have like everything has to match. Like the first like 3 photos in this row have to look the same. Three, and like this very curated thing.
That's your OCD show.
That's like that's the OCD, and that's like the style of like older Instagram too, where people were like really particular about like the stuff that is on their feed. Now I think people are more open to like UGC. User generated content that's just like off their phone, or it's just like edit on a phone app and they just toss it on and toss it up. That's where I think that's like the healthiest way of using it, because that's what it was originally, where it's like this platform of sharing these moments and all this shit, and it's become more of now like a professional curated resume sort of thing, showing all the successes and kind of creating even like that further illusion of like, man, this is where you gotta be, man. And you see all this shit that I've done. It's all good shit. It's all good shit. And Rashad is actually one who says like, you never see the failures that people go through. You just see,
of course,
great point. Yeah, great point. Like you only see the successes. So that creates that other layer of psychological fucking effect on you, where it's like, am I doing something wrong? Or it's like, I have to be sharing more things. Like, It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
It's overwhelming.
I'm so glad you brought that up too, because originally that's what I like kind of built my platform on, just like expressing to people like, listen, I get it. Everybody is like happy, but that's never permanent. What about when you feel down? What about when you feel low? Like you don't get to see that. And music in general is kind of how I tied back into that, to be like, listen, everything's not all like pretty. You go on IG right now or Twitter or wherever, all you're gonna see are like fucking $1 million mansions and these crazy interior designs in places that most people will never live, and it's just setting this idealistic view of what your life as a 20-something-year-old should be, when in reality, let's be real, like that's not realistic. It takes time. It takes steps, building step by step to get to that point. Like you, as a 21-year-old, fresh out of college, and even before that, you should not be questioning why you don't live in a mansion or why your interior does not match your aesthetic goals or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Why you're not driving a Tesla yet?
Yes, like
come on. You just got out. Speaking of college, like we've been friends for a while. NGCU days, like
yes, sir.
I remember when you were recording in NGCU. Oh,
cringe.
Good times, good times, man.
Good times, he said.
You were taking it serious too, though. Back then, that's pretty cool. Like
I guess
to see the growth, right?
Yeah, looking back on it now, it took that to get me here where I am today. Like for the most part, looking back, it used to be crazy because when I used to record, I was very particular about everything. For those that don't know, when I was a kid, like I used to count my steps. I needed to step a certain amount of times and like one square in order to move forward. I mean, some might call that like borderline undiagnosed OCD, but
yeah, I think so.
Whatever.
So, therapy's pretty expensive. We're all like self-diagnosed.
Listen,
fucking things.
Young black youth. What can I say? But for the most part, when I used to record, I needed everyone out of that room. And it was a combination with my shyness too. I wasn't ready to be one myself too, like perform or anything like that. It would kill me on the inside, bro. So I used to make everybody leave the room and be like, no, I need
it used to be like an event
to be perfect before I record, just to go on and do some trash.
Just make some fucking mediocre shit. Everybody leave. You know you want me, baby. Ooh. No, I understand the shyness though, man.
Word.
For sure.
And to be honest, I get it when it comes to especially like artists just coming into their own as an artist, because until you build pieces that you can proudly stand on, it's hard to be confident in your work. Until you have works of art that you can literally go and share with people, or even if you don't share it with people, they come back to you about it. Now you can feel confident enough as an artist to be like, you know what? I can do this. I have it. Like I have that factor. And again, that's just like when it comes to insecurity, some people have it with looks, some people have it with their creativity. Like it comes in many different forms. And it just goes to show that.
It's breaking down barriers. Spoken about it before. Like,
word.
It takes time to do that. You know, other people are, you know, everybody has a different journey. So some people could do that quicker, and some people it just takes a little longer because, you know, especially the first few things that we do as creatives, like, you know, judgment is a real thing, criticism is a real thing, and some of us aren't really ready for our like work that's like personal like that, especially the first shit that we make, like to be judged and to be criticized.
And on top of that, when you have either like an ear or an eye for certain things, you're a lot more self-critical in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere that the smarter someone or the more intellectual someone is, the more they criticize themselves and think things are unrealistic, as opposed to those that don't pay attention as much about that kind of stuff. they go off and become the stars because they don't think about the negative or the barriers that they have. Or
man.
they don't think that it's impossible for them, as opposed to if you know that damn, who would be my standard of a top artist? If I know that that person is here and I'm just coming in and I'm comparing myself to that, I'm not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
Not until like I really start improving my own skill as that intellectual person, or even vice versa. If you're not that kind of person, like you might put stuff out there. There's stuff that's like, damn, it's all perspective, but there's stuff that's just like straight garbage in my opinion. But
There's a lot of garbage,
quality and all. Like it could be horrible, it can still do numbers, and that just goes to show: do what you do and do what you love.
Do what you do what you love.
The real gonna stay.
100%, man. And I think with the advancements of technology where we're living now, we get to see that garbage. We get to see a lot of shit because everything is oversaturated, from photography to fucking digital marketers just messaging you, making comments on your post. Like, check your DMs. The more you use hashtags, the more that comes up, which is really annoying, but it's kind of funny. That's like a marketing, like that's a way people market themselves. Like they think it'll work. Maybe it does. I don't know.
There's one company or guy behind this company that has emailed me 5 times about marketing my stuff. Right.
Same format or some shit. Like same.
Generally the same, but it's the same. It's the same like angle he's coming at. Till recently, his 5th email said, "Well, clearly you don't care about the marketing of your own brand or company, so I'm going to stop." And I'm like, "Yes, thank you. I didn't respond the first 4 times. Why did you need to come with that email?
Clearly, you don't care."
Then he came and he attacked the potential consumer. Like he's bugging for that. But like, bro, if somebody's not responding to your emails, maybe don't you think that you should try to position the way you target your consumers, 1, in a different way, and 2, like what you're offering, the service that you're providing, is it really of value to that person?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shit on him and say like, his service isn't of value, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't what I needed at the time. But it might have been in the future. You lost me forever, man.
He's lost you. He probably lost you at 3rd email though. So
yeah, to be honest.
I mean, you have to respect his persistence, right? That's the spamming persistence.
I mean, when it comes to it, I feel like anybody at every level will tell you persistence is key, but also be smart about it.
Yeah, like you said, know who you're trying to market to and know who you're trying to sell to. Like it's pretty evident if someone's not interested off the rip. Like no response the first time, no response the second time, no response the third time, no response. Exactly. And the 5th time, it's just like now like a bad relationship. Well, you know what? I don't even need you.
Word. That's like for example,
it's silly.
If you wanna get on a playlist as an artist, a distribution, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Music, and you find out the person who curates the playlist, you don't hit them up with an email saying, "Hey, listen to my stuff. It's good. Here, put it on your playlist." Like, no. That is a person. That is somebody who has thoughts, who has feelings. Say hello, greet them, ask them. Like,
authenticity has to be provided.
Keep it to the point, but also like keep that human aspect. Cater your email to each person. That's another key. Like any comment, any message, cater it to that person. They are taking the time out to maybe give you the day, and even if it's your followers too. Like, some smaller artists and people, I feel like they can do a better job at this. But for the most part, I like to, if somebody engages with my content, I make sure to let that person know that I see them, I see it, and I appreciate that with a catered message directly to them, for them. It's not gonna be the spam thank you or the just like or the completely ignore. Like, how does that make somebody feel as a somebody who can potentially help you or put you on or is taking time out of their life to hear whatever the hell you're doing? Like, you gotta be real about that shit.
Yeah, and I feel like people are, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this, getting lazier in terms of like commenting.
And also keep in mind that
so when it does happen, it's like, oh shit, okay, let me make sure.
And if you're asking something of someone, like for example the playlist situation, what do you have to offer that person? Like, what are you offering them that's gonna help them? Because again, they have a job that they're doing. Like, they have metrics to meet, they have numbers to hit. how is your if your song one doesn't even fit that playlist, why are you pitching it to them? Secondly, like how are you going to market it for them to be successful as well? That relationship is kind of like symbiotic in the sense of one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. At the end of the day, it's not what you can get from somebody, it's how you can work together to make an equivalent exchange for the both of you to do better. Like, people lose sight of that kind of stuff.
Me,
too.
me. Yeah. Me. People are like selfish little babies when it comes to the art. A lot of people, it's good to be confident, but not think that like the shit you're making is the best, the fire. Like, you got to tell yourself that, you know, in order to just be able to share consistently, connect and all. But, you know, you're not Kanye, man, especially if you're like low key.
It depends, because there's certain artists, like you clearly not anywhere near that. So it's like, okay, don't
humble yourself, huh?
Yes, humble yourself. But one thing, and one artist sticks out in particular that I'm a huge fan of, and I might get some flack for this, but he's always, one, drops gems on people. Two, I understand why he's so jaded. And three, like, he's authentic in himself, and that's Russ, bro. Russ gets a lot. At one point, he got like a lot of hate on the internet and all this other shit. And like, I would just be there like, yo, they're bugging. This man has built himself up independent by himself over years and years of, one, perseverance. He put in his 10,000 hours. Two, on top of that, like the different marketing tactics. I found out about that man. I think it was like 2014 or 15 via Facebook. He was on like Backpackers, and it was a song, Losing Control. It was a music video that he dropped, and they featured it. And I'm just like, yo, who is this? Who is this?
Losing Control.
Yeah, that's a very good one. But for the most part, like, people don't appreciate what he gives back to the world, bro. In terms
of just like information,
and like gems, music, back-end analytics. Like, I've seen that man literally drop like his top countries. And if you're an artist, though, that back-end business shit, those are the kind of things that you need to pay attention to. If you think that you can kind of fit in the same lane as Russ, and he's giving you his analytics right there, oh my God, you don't know how much that's worth. Companies pay millions for that.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting that free game right there. Like, companies won't even give that up to an artist or to other people. That information is so valuable. You punch that into your ad, your whatever, your target audience, boom, you already have honed down and targeted to a specific group of people that are more likely to engage positively with your things. Like, but yeah, people think music or being an artist is only one side, which is a creative side, but back in that business side is just as almost more than important. And the reason I say more than important is because
how many
artists do we know, like locally, that make amazing music, or even not locally, but like they for some reason they're just smaller artists and they're not like bubbling over the way they should. Some might say, oh, it's just like been unlucky for them or this and that. And for the most part, like, I think a lot of it has to do with that back end operations side to the artist, where that business and a lot of people say when they go like networking, oh, just go to a few open mics. That'll do it for you. I've never been that kind of person, and we'll see if that's a gift or a curse. But for the most part, I feel like
going to open mics.
Yeah, for the most part, I do see value in it, in touching base with your home base and people that are around you that can support you. Yes, 1,000%. But in order to like stay in that mindset, I feel like you need to grow from there as well, because the world is the world. At the end of the day, I could be here and I could touch somebody from India. Damn, that sounded crazy. You're gonna cut that, right?
No.
I could touch somebody's heart from India.
No, it makes sense what you were saying. You could touch somebody from India. Yeah, it's not problematic.
Not at all. But yeah.
But no, 100%. The reach is now
exactly. Your music
limitless.
Can end up anywhere in front of anybody. So if you're not keen to that, or realizing that if I can get my music in front of these people and I target ways to find these people, then that may be almost exponentially times greater than going to 10 open mics in my city. You know, word of mouth only goes so far. Now, again, you're going to have your occasional lottery situations where, you know, the person sitting in the crowd happens to know like some major label exec and they pass off your things, or for example with, oh no, I'm not gonna use that example. That's one of my favorite artists. No disrespect to him. But for the most part, yeah, it's crazy how much reach we have today. And they're very small chances of like your music going anywhere from just, you know, getting lucky. You gotta put in that work behind it day by day, and that comes from the music aspect and the back end business aspect. They
Yeah,
go hand in
man.
hand.
Yeah, it depends on like if anyone's taking the career seriously, anything creative really. It's not something that you can be really casual about if you're taking it very seriously. Like you need to know all the other steps. Like if you make good music and you've kind of like figured out that like part of it really well in terms of just mastering and like lyrically putting something great together, catchy, et cetera, et cetera. Like if you don't know how to push it and market it, then you're just doing a disservice. It's like the color session for a music video. Like if you don't, I feel like if you don't find someone who really knows what they're doing with color correction and grading, you're doing the whole project a disservice. So it's like same for like the marketing aspect. If you don't know,
especially if you're an independent artist. Now, if you're one of those artists that, and no disrespect to them either, because it's all love, but if you're an artist that literally blows in a different way via TikTok or whatever, and you find a management team, you find a marketing team, or you sign to a label, okay, good. That's good for you and it works for you. But I'm talking about for as an independent artist, a lot of people that are signed to labels end up getting screwed over. Like on average, artists make about 12% of what they actually make or gross for the most part before all those royalty splits start to kick in. And even that's being generous because there are a lot more splits after that. Let's be real. And not on top of that, taxes. Like a lot of people don't talk about it, but after you make a certain amount, you basically tax like almost half your money.
Yeah.
And that's very unfortunate too. It really hurts, but for the most part, yeah, as an independent artist, it's so important to know the back end side of that and know the full cycle of that operation of your business, because you are essentially an entrepreneur, in order to be able to really get the most out of what you're doing. You gotta be a jack of all trades these days.
There's no excuse too, because it's like everything is online. Like you can do that research. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Google. You can look it all up. Before it was like fucking people were in the back of their cars handing out their fucking CDs or in the mall. Do you remember? They don't do that anymore. I don't know if they kick them out, but they were like, "Yo, what's up?" They would grip your hand, and be like, "Yo, man, I got a CD. You want to support?"
And
25.
not let go. And
not let go. Bro, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. But that's now it's like okay to kind of kick them away or just do some fucking jujitsu.
But for those that don't have the ability or don't know how to do that, just have somebody in your corner that does. That's all. Just have somebody that has your best interest that is doing that stuff for you if you're not. That's all I can say.
Well, even in the beginning for you, what's some stuff that you looked up like on YouTube or Google when you first jumped into like the research aspect of the being essentially your own like marketer, your own like promoter?
Ooh, so a small known fact, I actually went to college.
College degree, guys.
Nah.
Get the college degree.
I went to college and I specialized in social media marketing and marketing in general. Business management and marketing was my minor.
Okay, so that's great.
For the most part, with that being my specialization, that kind of like helped me out already. But on the side note, in my personal life, I'm a delivery operations manager for Amazon. So for the most part, a lot of that work comes with knowing the back-end analytics, and having that job has really taught me how to work certain things B2B or business to business, and how certain things need to be maneuvered or tackled to hit the right metrics or goals that you want. Like everything needs an action plan. Everything needs a way or a clear, concise, vivid plan that's going to get you there. Now, doesn't mean that nothing is going to change or you don't have contingency plans for when things go wrong, but have the most you can in place so when it does, you're prepared. But some of the things that I looked up, like just coming into it, that was very hard was one, and I know it sounds kind of basic now, but to those that are just coming into making music, how to distribute your music. Like, how do I get my songs on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all these other platforms, Deezer. For the most part, that was rough in choosing the differences between all the streaming platforms and knowing which one would be best for me.
Yeah, and there's different services that provide like that shit for you. They'll put your song everywhere, but then those services, some either take money or some
take a percentage of your royalties. Some have a one-time flat fee. Some have a fee that you will just pay literally every time you drop a song or an album. I'm not gonna name drop those companies because we could work something out, and then I got you. But outside of that, and even when it comes to music videos, like I just thought about this the other day. Music videos can be put on Apple Music, but song distributors can't do that. How do I get my music video on Apple Music to where they click my name and my music video's right there? Apparently, there's a whole music video distribution service too, and a lot of them are by invite only, which is kind of crazy, but there are some that aren't. And again, not gonna name drop those. Invite me to your service, or let's set something up. But outside of that,
help our guy out here, come on.
Outside of that, yeah, man, it's crazy. Those are a lot of things that coming into it, I really didn't know, but a lot of those basics I go into on my TikTok platform. It's a lot of entry-level beginner into I'm an artist. I want to start making music. How do I take my things to the next level when it comes to equipment, when it comes to streaming services, when it comes to just things that you should know about the music industry beforehand.
Yeah.
I touch base on a lot of those on my TikToks. And they do pretty well. I'm not going to sit here in front, you know.
No, yeah, no. Good to pat yourself on the back.
Just hit like over 100K, so it's
pat yourself on the back. I always say that.
I'm still a student to the game at the end of the day. Like, as much as I know there's still so much more for me to learn. And I'm excited because whenever I do post a video, I got people in the comments saying, "Hey, no, it should be this way, or it should be that way. You did that wrong." Or even when I'm mixing, like, I take pride in my mixing. I like the way my style of mixing is because for my voice in general, I have a lower tone voice and a deeper register. And if you hear today's music, let's be real, we haven't heard like deeper tones or lower voice outside of like Giveon and Sampha just now. Like before it was like what, Louis Armstrong and like really old artists.
It's more, it's a lot of higher pitched, like
now,
especially with the more of like the trap rap related world.
Yeah, especially in the lane that I'm in, man. Like you hear The Weeknd, you hear Bryce, and these are all my favorite artists. So it's not a shot. Everything's at an alto.
It's all here, falsetto. And then you're like, I don't go for shit. That's not alto. You.
But that's, you get what I mean.
It's baritone.
Yeah.
alto is this, I think.
Yeah, alto.
Right?
Yes. But for the most part, like coming into that, it was hard for me to place myself as an artist in this like R&B trap kind of world because it's just like, damn, a lot of music these days, at least, it's very bass heavy. And the fact that my voice itself is a bass, if people already have their like preamp or their studio monitors or speakers already set to increase bass or they're set to give out bass, then my voice comes and it's competing with the bass of the beat. It was just a lot of things I really tried to break down and look at. But then I'm just like, you know what? It's happening for a reason. I will find my new wave, and gratefully and thankfully so, like now I'm in a very comfortable wave where I'm just like, okay, I found my sound. It's been a while, but now I think I know where I sit. Now I think I know where I play. So it's like, we here now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. What are you using? I know you're on TikTok and you show a lot of the behind the scenes of your audio recording and productions. But what programs do you use?
So my DAW is GarageBand.
Yeah,
literally. And a lot of people when I tell them that, they don't believe me or they laugh and shit. I'm just like, no, you're joking, right? Not Garage. I'm like, yes, GarageBand. And everything that I mix and everything that I do, it's in my tutorials as well on TikTok. Like everything's default. I added no plugins. It just goes to show with your 10,000 hours and your level of mastery, the more you put into your craft, the more you can get closer to that sound, if not at the same level or greater. Like I've seen works of art and listened to works of art done in GarageBand, and people do it like a disservice, like, oh, you should get Logic or Pro Tools or Ableton, and we all know Pro Tools is the industry standard. And I'll be real too. After you move up a certain level, if you want to make your life easier, eventually you should at least know Pro Tools and how to navigate yourself around it. GarageBand and Logic, they're very similar. So
They're similar, yeah. I guess Logic comes with more of the plugins, right, and more of just some of the extra features.
And you can separate it literally by channel. But for the most part, when it comes to just that basic, that's just me showing everybody, like, listen, like, you don't need all of that. Everything is done in a home studio. A lot of things you can get professional quality with borderline professional hardware and things like that and software. For the most part, I touch on that a lot in my TikTok as well. As you don't need to. Here's another industry secret. You don't need to know how to sing.
Gems.
You don't need to know how to sing to sing. And to sing or to sound well or to make a good sounding song or to make a hit. Like, a lot of what you can do is post-processing, and I guarantee you, put some of your favorite artists, type in their acapellas or like unprocessed vocals and hear what they sound like, and then listen to the after product, and you can hear the magic that engineers are doing. It's insane. So if you can't sing, don't let that stop you either, because I was one of those guys where, I'll be real, my voice ain't the best. It ain't nowhere near. I know how to hold the tune and the melody though, and that's what makes my music really, really hit.
Yeah,
because I got that thing behind it. But outside of that, don't let nothing stop you, man. You got this.
It's like we were saying earlier, man. With all the stuff at our disposal, there's no excuse, because everything is there. GarageBand, if you have Apple, that's free. That's free, man. I use GarageBand too, just to fuck around and record sometimes, and it's really got everything you need. So if you want like an echoed, more reverby voice, you can do that. You can control the lows, the highs, the midpoints, and stuff like that. It's all there to start, at least. And if you master that, it's like going to another program. You can just probably elevate your product, but you can just do so much already on these free platforms, and it's free, man. That's the main word. Free.com. If something's free, there's no excuse.
Free 99.
I think about 808 and Heartbreak too, in terms of like vocals and singing and stuff like that. That's like one of my favorite Kanye albums, and he's singing like, then I was waiting on you. It's all auto-tuned though. He was singing. It was like,
it's definitely one of mine, because I'm a big Party Next Door fan. So like that auto-tune shit, give it to me. I love it. I love all that auto-tune, and it kind of translates to my sound too, where some people will comment like, that's a lot of auto-tune there, and I'm like, it's my creative preference.
Tune in or tune out.
Exactly.
You're just smiling there.
The door is right there if you don't like it. I like that little auto-tune side. It reminds me of like a more 2007 T-Pain-ish, but he uses auto-tune the right way, by the way. Check out some of his videos and he breaks that down. But that kind of sound is what I like. That's what I'm aiming for. That's my end goal. And
at least for now, right? Because life changes, shit changes, so who knows?
Now, that's my sound. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
Word.
Well, it's cool. I'm glad that you got uncomfortable and you've like figured out this path from yourself. I think I love doing these things too with friends, because it's like there's so much growth on both ends. We're both kind of like climbing up our own paths. So to remember how there used to be like I don't know what you guys used to put on the mic, like a sock or some shit. Like there used to be. I just remember in NGCU. Rinky dinky setup.
We had a budget set up for real, and our budget was like whatever we could find around the house.
But that's passion.
We was broke. We was eating Pop-Tarts out the vending machine for lunch and G-Sub. That was crazy, man. All we had to survive was what was that thing they gave you back in college when you get money back? What is that called? I forget. Damn.
When you get money back.
How long ago I graduated?
Yeah, it's been a while.
When you get your like grants and stuff, and then your
refund.
Your refund.
Yeah, your refund check.
Boy, when that hit, that was good.
Do you remember what you bought with like the first
Pop-Tarts?
Oh, that's it. Now you're ordering out, huh?
No.
Delivery.
So what I ended up buying with my refund was my first MacBook, and with that is when I really started getting into music heavy, more on my own, and being able to really create that mastery of those skills that I needed to hone throughout time too. So it's like a lot of people see it as like a come up. They utilize that stuff to your advantage, because that could really be a come up.
No, definitely. It's definitely like making I don't want to say the right steps, but it's like being aware that every step you make has like an effect later down in your path in the future. Investing in a laptop, investing in a computer, that's already like setting up certain new steps that you can go on, you know. Some people, I feel like, get lost in terms of the things they should invest in. It's like materialism, so it's more of like clothing and shit like that. But
and even outside of music, bro, literally in life too, like some people see working that like 9 to 5, not 9 to 5, but working that
9 to 6
minimum wage job, and you see that as like, oh man, why am I doing this? I'm better than this. I can do better than this. But in reality, trust the process. As long as you continue to be self-critical and level yourself up in the process, you're going to be fine, and you're doing just fine. I literally started, there were times where I had 3 jobs at one time, and I started from $725, then my next job was $750, then $825, then $850, then 9, then 10, then 11, then 14, then 18, and so on, and just kept growing from there. So it's like you think that you're in the wrong space, but I understand now that every one of those jobs I needed, because it put me in the position where I am today, and it gave me the necessary tools and skills to do what I'm doing today. Like I needed to feel like I was wasting my time at a bank when I changed my mind about doing finance. I needed to go to the retail store and manage that, because it brought me out of my comfort zone to help me talk to people, and it put me in a position where in order to be successful, I needed to break my own shell or my own barriers and put myself out there, but also know how to manage a business from a financial standpoint. And that put me in a level to go to even further, the next level, on like a more larger scale company side, where, okay, now I can run a $1 million a day business effectively, and no one can question my credentials or my experience or basically what I do on a daily, to now going into this venture with my own business, being an artist. It's like, damn, I got this. If I can manage that, and if I could make these results from that on being given nothing, because when it comes to companies, let me tell you, they frugal. Their job is to make money. So the more money you can make them with them giving you less, the more of an asset you are. So if I could do that for somebody else, man, imagine what I could do for myself when I actually invest my all into it.
Easy, man. Easy.
Word.
What a journey, man. It's a big journey. And it's, I try to tell my little brother too and stuff like that, not to be afraid of any certain jobs, because like they all bring a certain thing to your life. Like same way for me, having like worked at the food industry, like Johnny Rockets. It's like you're talking to somebody, customer, you're dealing with like a lot of different bullshit. Food is very sensitive, so you're dealing with like angry people, like this guy didn't want pickles and I forgot to put that, and there's pickles, he's back and he's trying to fuck me up. How do I do this? How do I manage this? So it's like from there to other places, it's like you're sponging all these experiences, and you're just growing over time to the point where you get this confidence to like take your shit like to the next level more seriously.
I'm laughing because there's 2 things people don't play about in these industries. You know what they are? One of them is food, and the other one is like their finances or money. So if you work customer service, either at some kind in the food industry or at a bank, man, I give it to you, because sheesh, when people come in, they already mad and you don't even know why. You did nothing to deserve it. You just got to take it at that point. Yeah.
You start to understand a little bit of the reality of humanity. Just some people are just angry. Yeah. Anger management issues. I think therapy and like seeing a therapist isn't like mainstream enough. So people that are just angry, they don't even think of it. They just carry a certain weight, and then they just unleash it on people, you know? Customer service.
And if you're one of those type of people that just throwing out anger, only thing I can say to you is go love more. Give out more love. Receive more love too. Whatever you want to do, but put out more love in the world, and I guarantee you'll start to feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Because what you're feeling now is only a reflection of your own insecurities, and what you say to other people is only a reflection of that too. So
yeah, it's the same way you were breaking down your journey. I think in some cases, not all cases, it's just like a built up thing for certain people. Like they were shat on in childhood, they were shat on in school, they were shat on some Joker vibes. They were just shat on, and then they just have no happiness to share.
Yo,
So it's like, what the fuck, the pickles? I told you, you're fucking dumb.
You said they were shout out. I'm just sitting here imagining somebody with just like a bunch of shit on them. Just
yeah, just experiences, just fucking fecal matter.
That'd be like a good anime plot, right? That'd be kind of isekai. You set that up in another world. That could go.
That could go. Yeah. I'd rather not have an actor actress like experience that. It's easier drawing it out. Like, I don't want anyone
Word,
to.
man.
But yeah, no. The journey is what provides like the strength to where we are now, and it depends on how positive you think about everything.
1,000%. You manifest that shit.
At a certain point, you feel it. The last job I had was at this cafe, Bucket and Bay, and it was a cool place, but I was there for like a year and 8 months. And, you know, it's like you're serving gelato. You have this like apron on. It's like cute colors. And it's like, it feels very like young person job in terms of like what I was doing. And like talking about gelato, and it's like, hey, this flavor has it. And like you have to have this preppy voice, and you have to be this person. You're making cones and shit. Voice. Yeah, your customer service voice. The switch is like, this is super casual. And Mike goes, hey, how are you? Oh, you're doing it. It's like that movie. I got, oh man, I think I heard a little bit of it when you got on a call.
Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome to
that is
insert company we don't work for anymore.
Yeah, you gotta be that friendly fucking dude.
Hey, what's up, man? Welcome to the pier.
So at some point, I just, gave up on the job. I just left. No, but for real, yeah, I just like, at some point I was getting real depressed because I was doing a lot outside of it. And then the job itself was just like, every time I went there, I just hate repetition too. That's my personality. After a while, like every job was the same. Like after a while, I just felt like I needed something new. And then, I put in my 2 weeks, which I don't understand. People that don't put in their 2 weeks, they just disappear. I respect those people. I put in my 2 weeks every time because I was like, okay, I need to give you some time before I leave, unless some fuck shit happens.
I'll be real. Some places deserve your 2 weeks. Others
that place deserved the 2 weeks.
Don't. And so there was one company I worked for. It was crazy. I ain't gonna get into the specifics, but for the most part, like I was fed up with that job. I was getting treated crazy, and I just wasn't happy all around. Pay, none of that. Nothing was going well. So I'm just looking like, you know what? I need to find something else. And one day I got a call of an offer, and it was like the offer of my dreams, bro. Like I couldn't make this shit up. And literally, I sat there. The hardest part about like putting in your 2 weeks is those last 2 weeks not rage quitting, because any little thing happens, it throws you off, and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna quit right now. Like say something. I wish my boss would say something to
Toss
me.
His apron.
I'll quit right now. And then I got onto like day 6 of my 2 weeks, right? And I'm looking around, I'm just like, yo, nobody not triggering me, but I just don't want to be here. And there was this one boss in particular. I just walked up and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. Here's my letter. I had it in my back pocket just in case. That's how premeditated that shit was. Like I was
thinking about it the whole day.
And everybody like, oh, but you're 2 weeks. I'm just like, 2 week notice. You gotta notice when I'm gone.
You gonna notice?
They had the coverage, so it's like I wasn't hurting the businesses anyway. They figured it out. It's not my job to put my self on the line for that business. At the end of the day, my position was literally up the next day, and they could have been petty as soon as I gave that 2 week notice. Some people would be petty and be like, actually, don't come back anymore, and you still have bills to pay. Then you have a 2 week gap before you start that next job. So that's the other thing to be cautious about. Depending on the company, when you put in your 2 weeks notice, that's another thing. That place was known for, if you put in your 2 week notice, they tell you don't come back. They say, okay, this can be your last day, you're good. And legally, that's all fine. So it's like, in that case, I got to give it to you when I know I'm financially secure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like when I quit, I was pretty okay outside of it. But it's definitely not like letting your patience run thin and then you leave the job and then you're looking for a job. It's like strategy, man. Everything should be thought out. How far down the road do you have your shit thought out in terms of like your planning, like your like you're in college, right? NSU, and you're doing like these recordings. That's like in the moment fun shit, and it's like you're figuring it out, growing. But then as you get older, you want to have like these 5-year plans. Some people have 10-year plans. So after that, it's like, okay, that's fantasy.
Things. So for the most part, I keep music on this side because I break it down into different phases. Let's start there. I break it down into three different phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 3 is my 15-year plus from now. How am I going to be making money and sustaining myself? My phase 2 is 5 to 10 years from now. What am I going to be doing in between that time to multiply my income? And my phase 1 is, what am I doing right now to multiply that within the next 2-3 years? So for the most part, when it comes to my phase 1, and specifically in music right now, my phase 1 is to like basically seek out as many opportunities to get my stuff in front of as many people as possible right now. But then tying back into phase 2, eventually, like I want to lean back into more of like a songwriting area. Whereas though I may not want everything that comes with everything in life, but I want the bag. So how do I get the bag? Get that writer's share, just pen for people. But then even further, phase 3 on a business level, I have different like business plans set in place to where, okay, if I do this, what kind of company do I need to impact in a certain way? And more is gonna come out on that soon, because I'm getting the paperwork together for my business right now. So I don't even want to talk about it too much, because somebody out there might try to duplicate that idea.
Next step. Well, everything's kind of been. But when it comes everything's kind of been done.
My personal life too, I also have a phase 1, 2, 3 approach where, okay, I'm excelling in all of this outside of music as well. So that way I can still fund and I can support whatever I need to support. But at the same time, if I ever decide to change my mind about anything, I'm like set regardless, no matter where, because I'm built strong across all areas. So it's like, I definitely plan out on a small, medium, and large scale.
That's great. Yeah, that's cool, dude. I think planning is important. And then it's like when you get into the more nitty gritty shit in terms of 5 to 10 year plans, like that's where you can set these goals and then over time see underneath the goal, like the tasks, if you're completing them and getting closer. And I ask because everyone's different about planning. Some people are more like spontaneous in the moment. It's like, well, I live for the moment. And then it might work for them, and it might do something well. But
I got this one bar I did on a tape I never released, but it was basically around being like socially conscious and the current events that we're facing in the world. But one line goes, niggas always fail because they fail to plan. And I felt like that bar always stuck out to the kind of person I am, where like you only fail if you're not planning. Like you need to plan things out, and it doesn't have to be to a T. You don't have to be as like structured, or it doesn't have to be controlled, but have a rough idea so that if you're ever presented with that, boom. It's like as an artist, if for example, you don't know any of your songs by heart, or you don't have any freestyles on your head, or you don't know how to freestyle, and you see Jay-Z walk past you, or insert another very successful artist walk past you, and they ask you, yo, you're an artist, right? And they on some old school shit where they're like, show me something, let me hear something. And you don't have anything prepared, that's planning too. So just because you're not planning on the business side, don't think that you're not planning either, because you sitting there memorizing your lyrics, that's planning. Because if you're ever put in that position, you're ready, you're prepared. That's all I'm saying. With everything that you go into in life, just be prepared, be ready.
Definitely, yeah. And you make, regardless of the person's like celebrity, like if you're at we were talking about open mics before. If you're at open mic and it's spontaneous or something, where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna go up, and and when you don't have a phone and you can just look at crowd and it's like you're present and you're giving that performance, it's a whole different feeling. You're gonna connect, like what Rashad does, like when he goes up there and he's giving, he's not reading something, he's giving this fucking performance, and you feel it, and he's looking at you. There's this connection. That's not a lost art form, but it's definitely something that, because some people go up there with their phones and that's okay, or with a paper, but like there's a huge difference, memorization and then memorizing like something to do with your body when you're doing that, so it's like it's an art form, man.
Shout out my boy Right Rob, bro. He really, even as an artist, I take so much inspiration from him as well. Like he adds so much to the culture, and finishing up his term as Poet Laureate of Jersey City, I'm really excited to see like what's in the future for him too. Because as he's such a natural teacher, and he doesn't even know how much he influences people or the impact that he has. But man, shout out to that man. That's my boy for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was a part of like the friend group in HGCU that
Back in the day.
we're all just like growing. I'm happy to see it. We're all doing our shit. And then here we are having conversations here. Same thing. I mean, I planned this podcast stuff too. I planned this stuff for a while. But then, you know, like you said, like nothing goes really according to like to the plan, to the T. Like things always adapt. But as long as you have like ideas and you set them up in the future, you know, like it'll happen. Like being in here is absolutely unexpected. Like I was starting the podcast and I would go to people's houses and sit with them and then set things up and record, always with the idea of being like, I need a studio space, but I have all the equipment already. It's like I just want to do it. I don't care. And then it just so happened that, you know, the network have like worked out with Rashad, like being a part of this of Manic Contemporary, and Rashad being Rashad, and our history, knowing each other, like it worked out through conversation, through thinking, and like not even long-term planning. I wasn't like in the beginning like, oh, maybe I can ask one of my friends. No, I was afraid at first. Like I need to like maybe find studio mates, and like I'm gonna have to save up money, and I'm gonna have to pay monthly, so I have to trust people to help cover the studio. It was like before this, like I was thinking about all that shit, and it wasn't fun thinking about it. And I was in the other room, the rental room, thinking like, what can I do? And then, you know, life just fucking happens. Like Shad just walked by and he's like, yo, what's up, man? And it's like, hey, Shad, what's going on? A little catch up talk. And then he walked by, he just kept walking. I was like, Rashad, maybe. Rashad's always open and receptive to ideas. And then that planning started, where it's like I started thinking like maybe he'll be open to this shit.
And that's the thing I love about Jersey City, bro. We have so many creatives doing so many different things. We have so many different artists and people that are willing to work with each other, stick together. Like this shirt I'm wearing right now, this brand is called like When Life Hands You Oranges. It's one of my friends, Noah. She's in Cali right now, but she's from Jersey City. Dope. And it's just like, even when it came to putting together the video, I wanted to make sure everyone that I interacted with, or every piece or portion of that, like it's homegrown. Because at the end of the day, Jersey gets so much flack for not putting Jersey on or sticking together, but I feel like we do, and we're going to be a new wave of Jersey where like we work together, we're a team, and we, even if we are crabs in a barrel, as Jay-Z said, we're on each other's back, pulling each other up, not pulling each other down.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. I mean, there's a lot of artists here, man. There's a lot of creatives here, and they're all, you know, doing their thing. Andy, Nights Like the Studio. Think about Nabil and all his creative work that he does, and graphic design, all that stuff. There's like so many, and the DJ culture here. Yeah, there's so much going on that I feel like, you know, COVID kind of like put a pause on the events and all the growth that was going on, and all the networking opportunities. But you know, once we pass this shit, yeah, I think for Jersey, it can only go up. We just got to get rid of the Ashford.
Oh yeah. Ooh, don't get me
on that note, let's fucking.
Yeah, that place is trash. Bro.
Tomorrow, baseball bats. You down?
Sir.
5 p.m. Just kidding.
Sir.
No violence. Violence is not the answer.
But if we wanted to round up some cans of soup for our family, we could head down to the Ashford and exchange them there.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, man. There's some things that it's like it's out of our reach in terms of like establishments being set up and gentrification. But what we could do is continue the events, continue the conversations, continue just the unity within ourselves.
Word. I got a story for another time about the Ashford. I literally hate that place. I don't even want to mention it, actually. Let me just not name drop it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. I don't know why I even mentioned. It's very relevant right now, but
I feel you.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we've been talking for a minute, man. Think we touched on some cool shit.
Word.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you,
expressing
brother.
Ideas and shit about yourself.
Glad to join you. Glad to share that. Glad to speak. Yeah, man. Beautiful time here.
Beautiful time, man. Next time we'll have a drink. Studio. Next time we'll have a drink, and we'll loosen up even more.
Word.
All right, man. Get the fuck out. Peace, guys. Just kidding. I love you, man. Please.